Hi, welcome to Authors Speak. It's an initiative by Books Etc., which is a literary gift store, and which itself is fantastic. I got to know about the literary bookstore last year, I think around October, November, and they happen to be even at the Rainbow Lit Fest, which I'm a festival director of, and they do amazing things. And I think this itself. The whole idea of a literary bookstore itself gets you to say, oh my god, there is something like that, and there is a need for such products, but you need to see what they make. You can go online and you'll get really fabulous things that you'd like to put on your desk, maybe just hang on the wall, maybe bags with great lines on it. Everything speaks to you that they do, and I think Authors Speak itself is a great platform that they have put together, and allowing us to still interact with readers who may not be reading our own books but just readers itself, and getting to communicate. It's just fabulous. As I mentioned, I'm a festival director of the Rainbow Lit Fest, but I'm an author as well, and this is my book, Straight to Normal: My Life as a Gay Man. It's my memoirs. It's my journey from my childhood in Mumbai all the way to the age of 50. I also have a band called Friends of Linga, which does indie original music, where my poetry is being converted to song. Then there is another band I'm part of called the Original Knockoffs, which arguably is the most diverse band in the country, with musicians from Congo to Nepal to Panama and India, of course. Um, so that's all kind of keeps me occupied. I'm a former journalist as well, and I still write here and there. My book, as I said here again, is really my. It's about my life. It's about my journey of not knowing to knowing that I'm gay, and figuring it out, the challenges, the world one lived in at that point in time, where no one talked about sex or sexuality. No one even used the word heterosexual, and so you didn't use the word homosexual. Um, and we had even a media at a point which, even after I came out, soon after I came out in 1999, which would write and say things like homeopathy can cure people of homosexuality, like you just take a dose and it's like curing heterosexuality of, you just give them some tonic and they should be gay, maybe. I don't know what else. Yeah. So I think so. This book covers a lot of period, and it covers a lot of time. It's also about the relationships. It's about the lack of spaces. It's I pose a lot. I mean, a lot of the challenges that I faced. It's not necessarily a story of sadness. That's what everyone tells me, because I never really read my book after having written it. I couldn't. I made an attempt, but it used to emotionally um, make me. It just really bring me down, some portions that I would read, and in the book, and yeah. So I'll come to that, but. So at this point in time, being locked in at home, I haven't stepped out since March 19th, actually. And one of the reasons is my mother is a senior citizen. I can't call her, and I don't like to call her that. I don't think likes it either. She's still very young at heart, but she comes within that vulnerable population, and then with a bit of a lung problem, it just makes it even tougher. So I've been at home since 19th, even before the lockdown, and most of my time has been thinking different ideas. I've written a bit of poetry. Um, I've thought of new books that I want to attempt, and in fact, I'm in talks with a publisher for another book. Um, and I've been doing music. I released a song called "See You on the Other Side of Corona." So it's really a song of hope, and coming to the, hopefully that we get over this pandemic and are safe and back to at least interact, even if the world is completely changed, or not, or changed to a great extent. Just be able to to re-interact, and that's so. I've been doing that. I've been trying to cook a bit, um, and I'm also doing some speed reading, as well as going to books that I've been wanting to read, as well as books I've read, but I want to refer to certain bits to refresh my memory. For example, as I said, I'm majorly in music, and I think in a way I'm influenced by people like John Lennon and Bob Dylan in particular. But there was a book which came out earlier, I think it was last year. It's called Across the Universe. It's on the Beatles years in India, which is really very very interesting. It's written by a former colleague and journalist, very well known journalist, Ajoy Bose, who's crazy about music as well. So this book is quite interesting because it takes you to the days of of the ashram in Rishikesh, where the Beatles had been, and it talks about all the whole exploration of a certain kind of Krishna consciousness, which then I think later led George Harrison to invest in ISKCON and things like that. But it's got a lot of other stuff about what happened while they were here. The other book, which is kind of my guru, Bob Dylan's Chronicles. I mean, he's an amazing writer in any case, and I find going back to his book is just so refreshing of a person who was still very much alive and active, about his style of writing and the kind of politics of that time which comes out in his writing. So as far as my book goes itself, I wrote it in 27 days flat. Actually, that was the first draft. It started on September 29th, and I sent it to my publishers, Rupa Books, on October 27th. And I did go back to the book later on in November, when I had some thoughts which were more towards the end of the book, and about making sense of my life, and I just I think I think that the reporter instinct of just narrating stories, narrating my life, and it's in a sequence, made it easier for me to kind of do this book at that pace, and I myself am just so surprised I managed to turn it out so quickly. But obviously it was all there and pent up in me, and so I found that there were moments in the book which were difficult because they're very personal. I talk about the loss of my brother, of my dad, of an assault that I faced because of my sexuality of a certain period of time. It was an experience just doing that, because I've never done that before. So I was also asked actually to read a bit from my book, and I prefer not to really read a para or something. I would read a poem which I end the book with, which is now ready in a song. We just got some things to finish to it. The song is going to be called Nature's Had Its Say, but this is the poem. The idea of what is normal, the idea of what is fate, the idea of what you're seeking, and the idea of mistakes. I was born to be a person, I was born to be who I am. You were born with the same story, that I'm different is not a crime. The idea of what is nature, the idea of what's a freak, the idea of the difference, the distinctions are oblique. You were born to be normal, you do have some flaws, but who am I to intervene and claim to cure you of who you are? The idea of the green leaves, the idea of the blue skies, the idea of night's darkness, the idea of daylight. They were born to be that way. They were born with their say. They were born to be different, no matter what you say. So if I'm different and if I'm gay and you are heterosexual, I'm not curing you of your ways anyway. The idea that I'm normal, the idea that I'm gay. The truth is that we're different and nature has had its say. Thank you. I would just say, turn to books that make you happy. Read Dylan, read about the Beatles, read Lennon. There's so much of great material out there, and just stay safe, stay well, and thank you, books, etc. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much.